In today's video, I'm going to show you step by step on how I build and design my own platforms. So stay tuned. So the first thing that I start off doing is going on to Tinkercad or a Fusion 360, some kind of 3D app so that I can build up a model of the platform. Once I have my model, I then take that and I transfer the dimensions over onto a piece of cardboard. From this template, I can get the angles that I need, I can get the different measurements, and I can also use it as a template when I'm welding up as well. Once I get my measurements from my cardboard template, I then use that to make a cut list, and then I proceed to break down my material. The way that I'm doing this platform is I'm basically building two identical sides. So I'm going to have all of the same measurements on one side as I will on the other side. So what I do is I take all of my double cut pieces and I grind them together so that I can make sure that they're the same exact length. I then clean up all my pieces and get them prepped and ready to weld. I start off by welding the back brackets first. I continue using the cardboard as a template and to make sure that I have the correct angles. I then tack weld the pieces together as I work my way down, continuing to check my angles against my template the whole time. Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a second real fast and just say thank you for watching. It's very much appreciated. Also, if you could please like and subscribe, it helps the channel out a ton. Now let's get back to the build. Is that good enough for you? Does that work? Alright, okay. That works? Okay. Alright, as long as it works for you. You sure that's the one? Okay, let's go. Once I get the outside body done on both pieces, I begin working on my reinforcements and putting in my supports. I also make sure that I go back and finish all the welds. With the two parts of the platform done, I turn my attention to the bracket that connects the post to the platform. I cut two pieces of angle iron, and between the bench grinder and the hand grinder, I'm able to get a rough shape really quick. I take them over to the drill press, where I'm able to drill them before I attach them to the platform. With the platform starting to come together, I turn my attention to the front where I can put in supports for my angled front piece. And what that does is it allows me to rest the arch in the sole of my foot, and it allows me to rest it in there, and it's a very comfortable position to sit in. Once that's done, I then start my post by welding two pieces of the 3/4 inch on each side of the post. And then I also reinforce it with a piece of 1/2 inch along the face of it. I then drill them out, and then I start working on my button. The button is just a piece of flat stock that I drilled out, and then I took a piece of a solid rod and I inserted it in, and then I tack welded it on the face of it. I then ran it through the tube and welded it to a piece of 3/4 inch that I had welded previously on the back side of it. I cut these little triangled pieces out of the 3/4 inch flat stock, and then I take those and I weld them to the back side, and that's what gives me my teeth. Right now they look really sharp and really aggressive, but I'll use the grinder and I'll smooth them out and I'll make sure that they're not as sharp on the end. With the teeth of the platform done, I then take those same triangled pieces and I start to make the bracket for the top of the post. I cut 3 pieces of the 3/4 inch at 2 inches, and then I weld teeth to 2 of those. I leave one of them open, that way I can get my bolt through the center without having any issues. And just like the platform teeth, these will also get shaped down with the angle grinder. And to finish the bracket off, I weld a piece of C-channel to the back, which will allow it to lock onto the posts to make it so it doesn't spin. Moving right along, I start working on my adjustment bolt. First thing I do is I take 2 of those 3/4 inch pieces and I weld them together. I then take that over to the drill press where I drill it before I then take it over to the vise and tap it. And I'm using a 1/4 inch tap with a number 20 thread. And for the bolt itself, I'm using a grade 8 machine bolt, which is very important. If you use a grade 5 bolt, for example, it will bend and you won't be able to spin it to get it out because of the threads. With the adjustment bolt done, I can now finish my post by cutting out the top plate. I start by cutting a 2-inch piece of angle iron, and I cut it into this T shape. And the reason I do that is so that I can weld that tab to the front of the post, and then I drill it and I run my bolt from my bracket through it, which helps reinforce everything. With everything roughly together, I take it outside and I throw it on the tree just for a test run, and I immediately notice that there's something wrong. Okay, so why would I leave that in? Well, I left it in because I think it's important. In the very beginning of the video, you'll see me on a computer, and I'm on a 3D app. I'm on, I think it's Tinkercad, might be SketchUp, one of those apps. And I'm building this platform. Now, the reason I do that is because a lot of times in those apps you can foresee issues and you can either design around them or you can just completely eliminate them. However, that's not always the case. What's the problem? What's going on? The reason this is happening is because my button is too close to the top of my post. When I push my platform down, it's going to put that strap on an angle. And that's what's going on. That's the problem. So I could just drop the button down a little bit lower and that would solve this problem. I could also shorten the bracket a little and that would fix this as well. I think I'm just going to end up rebuilding the entire post. And I'll drop that button down just a little bit and that should fix everything. So as you can see, I made the post a little bit longer and I dropped the button down just a touch. So with the new post done, I can begin to assemble everything. I use grade A bolts and lock nuts on everything. And as you can see, I use the angle grinder to grind down the teeth and take out a lot of that sharpness that they had. I also used it to clean up the platform itself. And so now with everything done, we can go ahead and attach it to a tree and try it out. Okay, so I got the platform, I'm outside, I'm going to throw it on a tree and I'm going to start running it through its paces, make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to, make sure it's going to hold my weight, and just basically get it ready before I take it out and actually use it to hunt.